Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tag Park here in the nation's capital of Ottawa, Ontario. Former Raven Jeffrey Morris alongside myself, Tristan Ford. Thanks so much for joining us here in the booth for Week 6 of OUA football, where the York Lions will be in town taking on the Carleton Ravens. Carleton come into this game 1-4 after a heartbreaking loss to McMaster that ended in a red zone interception. The loss in that game put the playoffs a little bit further out of reach for the Ravens, making today's matchup and next week's Panda game all the more critical to get wins. York, on the other hand, is coming into this game hyped up after their first win this season against U of T. Last week's win marked their first win since October 11th, 2019, when they also beat U of T. And today, Carleton's O-line has some changes. It's gonna look a little bit smaller with Angus O'Mara and Dylan McCoy stepping in his place. Jordan Musa also gonna get in the start at left guard. And Jeff, it'll be interesting to see if York tries to exploit these changes in the Carleton O-line and bring more pressure on the pass rush.
Well, that's the one thing that York has to do. York does not have a sack so far this season. And when you go a little bit smaller in your offensive line, it doesn't mean you're not as good. What Carleton will have as an advantage is guys that are a little lighter are a little better on their feet. They'll have more footwork. So maybe for the pass block, that'll be a bit of an advantage. They may not move the bodies on the run game as much, but Carleton's offensive line really wants to make sure to protect their quarterback, and they've done a good job protecting their quarterback all year.
And the Carleton's running back, Ethan Rocha, coming off a career game where he rushed for 130 yards. It was a huge reason why Carleton had the chance to get back into that game last week. And look for Carleton to establish the run game early and often, with Joey Marcotte also getting in the lineup today.
We've been waiting for Joey Marcotte for a few games. He was injured before the season started, and here's a kid that it was the #1 ranked running back in the province of Quebec, a Quebec City native, lightning quick, and it'll be exciting for him to finally get his first taste of OUA action with the Ravens.
And we'll be right back after the national anthem here. And a great national anthem there, done in English, French, and Algonquin for Truth and Reconciliation Day that's coming up on Monday. That's why you'll see some coaches around the field here wearing orange for the Carleton Ravens. And Jeff, if you watched York's game last week, you might have noticed that they wore their white helmets with no stripes. Coach Dexter Janke told his team they had to earn their helmet stripe by winning a game. So you'll notice today that the team delivered, and in return, they'll be hitting the field with their stripes. And if they get their second win at any point this season, they'll get the lion on the side of their helmet. Kind of cool, making them work for it.
Really cool, and I know that for some people that may not sound like a lot, but when you're in that locker room, when you're fighting for that first win, that means everything. It's like when you look at some of the big college programs like Ohio State, the guys have the stickers on their helmet that they earn. You want to show that you've earned something, and good on the York coaching staff for doing that.
And beautiful weather here at Tag Park. We've had good luck with the weather so far for our home games here, and September as a whole has just been pretty beautiful. Great day for some football, and both teams looking to get some wins here as they badly need them.
Well, we were talking about this being the Juxtaposition Bowl. Both teams have one win. Both teams beat University of Toronto at Toronto. But Carleton with 27 points per game to York's 10, York without a sack all season. Carleton pouring on the offense. This is a team here, but the Ravens are much better than a 1-4 team.
Yeah, definitely way better than what their record shows. And yeah, you have a high-powered offense that can just march down the field at will. You've got Elijah Barnes, the young quarterback out of Thomas More, at that quarterback position and really leading this team. And we've seen him have a really good season, but he's making a lot of mistakes. And that's what a young quarterback's going to do. But you look at this guy in 2-3 years, he is going to be absolutely exceptional. He's got the perfect frame for the position. He can really sling the ball around, and excited to see, the rest of Elijah Barnes' career.
He's getting better every game, every half, even every drive. I mean, it's just a game of repetitions. It's a game of making reads. He's struggled at times, but he's been brilliant at times. So he's becoming more consistent as the season goes on. And again, last week, that McMaster team was really good, and that was a barn burner, that game. And unfortunately, it was an interception in the end zone near the end of the game that did Carleton in. But Elijah Barnes has been getting better and better by the week.
And we'll be right back in 2 minutes for the kickoff and the start of this game.
Intelligent and creative. I am bold and determined. I rely on teamwork, and I am accountable. I am a competitor who will defend my territory.
And welcome back to the nation's capital, Ottawa, Ontario, as we get set for a kickoff here between the York Lions and the Carleton Ravens. York made the long trip up to 401 to get here last night, and they're ready to play here, coming off their first win of the season. They want to turn another one on against this really powerful Carleton Ravens team that's just struggled this season to get W's. But as we mentioned before, Jeff, really a high-powered team, and excited for this one here today. Carleton going to be receiving. York will be kicking this one away.
That's one area York has done really well on this year, is their special teams.
The kick is off, and Keyshawn Reed back to receive. Reed fields it at the 5. He's looking towards the outside, flag on the play already, and he goes out of bounds at the 25-yard line, around the 25-yard line.
David Gonzalez-Gauthier along the sideline with a holding call there. That's what that's going to be.
So that'll be a face mask there on the Lions.
See how I got that one wrong? I'm off to a good start.
We've got referee Jeffrey Morris in the booth here today and already got his first call wrong.
That's right. No wonder I got booed so much.
So Elijah Barnes, the quarterback for the Ravens, this high-powered offense with a lot of weapons around him. You'll see Tristan Reddy and Kasim Ferdinand, the receivers, to the bottom of your screen there. Frederick Hashi in motion on the top of your screen, and it's going to be a rush there from Elijah Barnes with a nice fake, and he's going to get some yards out of that. He's still going, breaks the tackle, and he's around the first down marker. It looks like he'll have it.
It's going to be close, but I think he's got it.
Yeah, one referee signaling that he does. And they'll move those sticks. A first down there from Elijah Barnes off the QB draw.
Barnes is the second leading rusher on the Ravens team so far this year, and just shows why. He's you got a weapon like that is so versatile.
So 1st and 10. Ball's on the 53-yard line. That'll be the Ravens' 53-yard line. And someone jumped there. Looks like that's going to be on the offense. So that'll move the Ravens back. Offside on the defense. It wasn't one of the linemen that jumped first. That'll be on York. But, yeah, you'd think that would have been a free play if there was offside on the defense.
The umpire counted back 5 yards against Carleton, but it's actually on York. So what happens there is if you have the 1 yard neutral zone, if the defense breaks that neutral zone and the offense reacts, that call, even though the defense is stunning, that call goes against the defense. If they stunt 2 yards behind the ball and don't break that 1 yard plane, it's that would have been on the offense.
Interesting.
That's a little too technical, isn't it?
A little bit, but I'm sure everyone at home understands. And 1st and 5 for the Ravens. Hand off to Ethan Rocha, who we mentioned in the pregame there, had a career night against McMaster last week. Rushed for 130 yards, and he's going to look to do more of the same here tonight. He looked like one of the best backs in the country last week.
He looked phenomenal, and again, that's the 5 guys up front that made him look good. But notice last week he got better and better as the game went on, how hard he was hitting the hole, how confident he was hitting the hole. Ben Huckabone, number 85, came over from the right side and kicked out the linebacker on that play and really opened that hole up for him.
Yeah, he reminded me a little bit of Derrick Henry, how he just seemed to get a lot better and a lot stronger as the game went on. They rush again with Rocha, and that'll be a short gain there.
So he got 6 there, but first contact on Rocha was not made until 5 yards.
Looks like they're going to give him 6, and it'll be 2nd and 4 for Barnes and the Ravens. Two receivers to the bottom of your screen, 2 to the top. Barnes going to pass it, and that's Aiden Arnott-Smith. He gets hit hard. A great rush there by, a great pass there by Barnes, and some good yards after the catch from Aiden Arnott-Smith.
Aiden Arnott-Smith, primarily a blocker in this offense as the fullback, but he's a very reliable receiver. And of course, those first few plays set up that play action. And the outside linebacker bid on the play action. Aiden Arnott-Smith wide open in the flats there.
Marcellus Pope there with the tackle. Another pass. It's going to be Frederick Hatchie on the catch. And we'll see where they mark him.
There's a flag at the line of scrimmage.
Still awaiting the mark, it looks like. Yeah, it'll be off. It's going to be a penalty on the offense there.
That's one of the challenges when you're running that waggle where you've got all the receivers coming up to the line of scrimmage on the run. Somebody breaks over by a yard early, and that's the risk you take with that play.
There's a false procedure there on the Ravens. Barnes in the gun. Low snap. Quick pass out to Yeboah. He's going to get hit even though he didn't make the catch. Again there, Pope wanted to go make a hit. Physical defender on this York Lions secondary is Marcellus Pope.
Yeboah has struggled with drops
all season,
and you're just waiting for that guy to put it all together, and he's going to be a phenomenal receiver. But it's again, that's first-year jitters, and that's going to happen, especially on a play like that where you're kind of looking at where you're going while you're trying to catch.
A really bad snap there, and they're going to get to him. Barnes looks like a fumble, and it'll be York ball. Wow. So we said at the beginning of this game, York does not have a sack all season. There's their first, and it ends in a fumble. A turnover there for the Ravens, going to give the York Lions pretty good field position here for their first drive.
And again, you mentioned at the outset of the broadcast, Tristan, Carleton has a couple of players starting are off their starting offensive line, not there. Angus O'Meara, the center, one of them. A couple of those snaps on that drive, and then that one. So big break for York.
Yeah, so Dylan McCoy starting at center for the Ravens, and yeah, unfortunate there. A bad snap that turns into a fumble for Elijah Barnes, and a rush here from the York Lions, going to go nowhere. Alunga on the rush.
Xavier Malone ends up in the backfield with that tackle. York has one dangerous weapon, and that's Alfred Olay, and he's going to be missing his second game of the season this year. He's their biggest weapon on offense, so that's a big hole for York to fill in.
Loss of 2 on that play from Melkus Alunga. 2nd and 12 here for the Lions. Matt Lynn back to pass. And he's getting rushed. Pocket is closed. He's outside the pocket, throws it away. Had nothing. He was looking. He's looking for Blake Van Bruggen there, but coverage was good, and that pocket closed on him fast. Didn't have much time back there at all.
Van Bruggen did a good job cutting back toward the sideline, and Lynn almost completed that pass. So just missed it, but a good play.
So 2 and out for the Lions. Tristan Reddy back to receive this punt. He turned it into a touchdown last game. Not so lucky this time. Gets his feet taken out from under him. He'll be down at the 26-yard line.
That's been one advantage that York has in this game over Carleton. Nathan Walker, their punter, has about a 9-yard average higher than Joey Chandra coming into the game. It's a pretty stiff breeze down there, and he's kicking into the breeze, so the ball held it up, but he got a really good roll there. Carleton wants to play that ball in the air to not give up a 20-yard roll.
Was there a flag on that play that I
missed?
We have an illegal. Them back here?
We have an illegal block on that play.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Ravens in the shadow of their own goalpost here on the 6-yard line after that penalty on the punt return.
We've talked about this before on the broadcast. The most penalized play in football is the punt return.
So Tristan Reddy to the bottom of your screen with Kasim Ferdinand, and a rush there from Rocha.
Yeah, Arnott Smith with the carry there, and getting back to the penalty on the punt return. If you commit the foul before the ball is fielded, the penalty's applied from where the receiver or the returner touches the ball. So it's a big penalty.
There's Max Tufescu there, who had the tackle, playing on the right edge position. York's called the timeout here. It was interesting, Jeff. If you look at the York depth chart today, not too many defensive linemen suited up for them at all. A lot of linebackers and a lot of safeties. A big secondary dressed and a lot of linebackers as well. It makes you wonder, like, if they were planning on just throwing some different things at Carleton and trying to attack them with a little bit more of a pass rush, which you saw on the first drive there after that bad snap.
They ran a unique defense often in the Toronto game where they only had two players on the defensive line, and they had either five linebackers and then even sometimes the safety moving up.
And that's what they do. They throw kind of weird looks at teams and try to catch them off guard.
Their defensive coordinator this year is Greg Knox, who used to be a head coach with McMaster, and he likes to throw a lot of different looks.
So Barnes in the gun, 2nd and 8 on their own 8-yard line. Barnes back to pass, looking for Reddy, has him over the middle. Here's Tristan Reddy with a lot of yards after the catch. Down at the 35-yard line. They're going to mark him at the 36. What a pass there by Barnes, finding Reddy quickly, and Reddy just barreling his way over the middle.
Reddy, hitting the line on the run, and then made a nice cut on that slant route. Barnes got rid of the ball quickly, and it evolved into a great play for Carleton.
Ferdinand and Ray to the bottom of your screen as the receivers. Hatchie and McDonald to the top of your screen. Rush there from Rocha. He gets brought down after a short gain. And that's Fescue again.
Fescue was lined up as an edge rusher on the right side, got into the backfield, and then did a great job getting back into the play and coming and making that tackle from behind. Good quickness, but good alert second effort.
He's a linebacker, but looks like today they're going to be throwing him on the edge there. Barnes back to pass, looking deep, he was looking for Reddy over the middle there once again. Had him, but just couldn't keep his hands on it. And that'll bring out the punt team for the Ravens.
That looked like Brody Clark making that. He had a really good game against Toronto last week too, broke up that pass. Now Chandra has some wind with him on this play, so let's see if he can get a hold of one.
Malachi Morrison back for the Lions to receive this punt. Chandra boots this one away. And Morrison looking outside, and he's going to get tackled right away.
Looks like we're going to have a 15-yard no yards penalty on Carleton. They got inside that 5-yard zone. Of course, I was wrong on the kickoff.
So Matt Lynn and the York Lions offense going to be taking the field for the second time here today. They went 2 and out on the first drive. Looking to complete a first down at least on this drive.
This should be a 15-yard penalty, so it'll give York the ball at the 46, so pretty good field position. What happens on plays like that? Again, if you're a gunner, you've got to kind of gear down and shimmy and chop step and not overcommit into that 5-yard zone.
Alunga looks to pass, gets it to the outside, has a man, great completion, and the whistle blew, but he's still going. That was Malachi Morrison who made the catch there, and he was clearly down by contact. Whistles were blown, but he kept running there.
The right tackle for York, number 73, Milan Fernandez, really did a good job on Ife Onyeka there. He forced him to the inside, and Lynn not only had that pass, but if he wanted to pull it down and run to the right, he would have had a lot of real estate.
So 1st and 10 on the 50-yard line, the Carleton 50-yard line, and rush there. Didn't go too far. Malchus Alunga on the rush. Brody Burke on the tackle.
York's running a tempo offense, trying to catch Carleton in a bad personnel situation.
2nd and 9 after a gain of 1 for Malchus Alunga. Some confusion seemingly for Matt Lynn there. Didn't know what the call was. He's going to air it out now. Oh, and that's picked off by the Ravens. And here comes Zenjiro Dane Altador on the return there, and he gets dropped by Avery Ford. And a little celebration there from your Ravens defense, feeling themselves. Zenjiro Dane Altador with a nice pick. Matt Lynn threw a pick last week and now has a pick already here this week. And this secondary is way better than the UFT secondary that they played against last week. So Matt Lynn really has to be smart with his decision making.
He had an open man there and just overthrew him. But if you watch that play, he really pushed the ball from his ear. He aimed it rather than threw it.
And we'll be right back after a short break. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Carleton Ravens football on OUA TV.
This is what girls do. 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 This is what girls do.
And welcome back to Ottawa, Ontario, here at Tag Park, Carleton University. And if you're just joining us, it's been not too much happening for both sides on offense. A couple of 2-and-outs for the York Lions. And they just threw an interception. Zendro Dane Altador picked them off. And now the Carleton Ravens offense back on the field here. And a quick pass from Barnes finds Ferdinand, who makes a man miss. Now he's got some room to the outside, still on his feet, finally gets brought down. And that's Max again there on the tackle. Max Tefescu. That's his third tackle here today.
Our broadcast producer, Adam, is back this game, and one thing you guys don't know watching on TV is Adam actually has a joystick, and he's controlling Kasim Ferdinand today. That's the only way to describe the cuts that guy's making.
Beautiful run there from Kasim Ferdinand. 1st and 10 here for the Ravens. Ball on the York 44-yard line. Barnes drops back to pass. Looking downfield. He's had Aiden Arnott-Smith, but Arnott-Smith couldn't keep his hands on it.
I'm just kidding you about the joystick thing. There's not really, you can't really do that.
No, we don't have a Kasim Ferdinand joystick
no,
up here?
we don't.
We
don't
got to
have
get
that.
on that.
Seriously.
We might make him worse. He is a gifted individual once he gets that ball in his hands.
Marcellus Pope with that defensive play. Really good job by the safety there for York on breaking that pass up.
Barnes back to pass, looking to his right. He's got Matt Morin.
He's got the first down. He's got it by about a yard. So
really
good to see him
there for Matt Morin.
Really good to see him back in the lineup after banging up his shoulder before. Carleton's got a lot of depth at running back today.
And they didn't even have him on the depth chart as a running back, so see what they use him for here today. Be interesting to see if they continue to use him in the pass game, but it looks like he's lining up in the backfield. 4 receivers to the bottom of your screen, 1 to the top. Barnes, handoff to Morin. Morin getting to the outside. He's got some room, and he gets hit hard.
That was a really good read by Morin. A little bit of a cutback there, but he had a hole on that right side that you could have driven a Zamboni through.
So first down for the Ravens, and they are knocking on the Lions' doorstep now. And another rush from Morin. Looks like a short gain of maybe 4 or 5 on that rush. See where they mark it.
This is what Carleton has to do the whole game. They have to get the ball on the ground and run and make big holes. Get between 5 and 10 yards of carry on first down.
So they gave him 4, 2nd and 6. Matt Morin on the run, getting outside, and a flag on the play. See what the flag is for there. It looks like it could be a block in the back on the Ravens. Yeah, holding on the offense, and that'll move them back 5.
Yeah, actually that's going back 10. Now, the interesting thing on that, just so you know how the holding penalty works, if the holding penalty occurs before the first down was made, it goes back from the line of scrimmage. If it's after the first game, or after the first down was gained, it would go back 10 yards and be 1st and 10. So they just missed by about a yard getting a 1st and 10 back there.
Yeah, and that makes this a much tougher situation for the Ravens. 2nd and 16 here for Barnes and the Ravens. Barnes back to pass. Looking end zone. Ferdinand's there. Doesn't have him. No flag.
Kasim Ferdinand was well offside on that play anyway, so that would have come back.
So that'll bring out the field goal unit for the Ravens.
So here comes the field goal unit.
Yeah, so you're right. There was an offside there from Ferdinand. That penalty was declined by York, and that will lead to this field goal attempt from Brandon Forcier. So
Forcier 7 of 10 on his field goal attempts this year, 70%, which is his lowest of his career so far.
Forcier misses that one, and that is dropped by Morrison in the end zone. So that'll give Carleton 1 point.
We do have a flag on the play, so let's see what this is.
Should have worn my glasses today. I don't know if you noticed, I'm not wearing them, and I'm missing these flags for some reason. Didn't see that one fly out. And that's going to be a face mask there, or an unnecessary roughness.
Yeah, so that's gonna bring the ball up to the 50 for York. So again, they only give up 1 point, and they have great field position.
Carleton already heavily penalized in this game. It hasn't hurt them yet, except for on that drive where they could have had a score, and instead, they could have had a touchdown potentially. Instead, had to settle for the field goal that was missed. And Matt Lynn shovels it off to Ilunga, and Ilunga gets his feet taken out from under him. Megawatt there. Apologies, that was Zendro Dane Altador on the tackle. With his jersey all scrunched up. It looks like a 16. That's a 15 there.
York is
by Zendru.
York is trying to get the ball outside the hash marks as quickly as they can.
2nd and 6. Matt Lynn looking to pass. He's outside of the pocket. Joseph on him as a flag on the play.
Now it's probably going to be a illegal contact, unless there's an illegal man downfield on York. But let's see what the a chop block on York.
So chop block called on York. Do you see what number that was?
No, I didn't. I didn't see the infraction. I think it was away from the play.
Yeah, interesting, because that was called by the referee, who was all the way down the field over here.
So they've declined the penalty to take a 3rd down. To block below the waist, you can only block below the waist in the box between the tackles and 5 yards deep. Other than that, you're not allowed to block below the knees.
So the punt will come here from Nathan Walker. Maxime Ferdinand fields it at the 7-yard line, and he's got some space to the outside, and he'll go out of bounds short of the 30-yard line.
Carleton got away with a big one there that could have cost them 15 yards. I'm just trying to see what number that was. I believe it was number 20. Who's not on our list. If you're running back toward your own goal line, you can't light somebody up, and he, on that return, did that. It's called a blindside block. So Carleton got away with one there. But again, we talk about the penalties on punt returns. You've got to be careful.
Keyshawn Reed now in for the running back position for the Ravens, and he gets his first rush of the game here. He gets brought down short of the first down.
Again, another big hole by the offensive line from the Ravens.
We'll see one last play here from the Ravens before the end of the first quarter.
And statistically, Carleton is so far ahead of York in this game, and the score's 1-0. York is staying right with them. Penalties and a turnover. That's all it takes.
Barnes, a handoff. Keyshawn Reed hits the hole hard, and here he goes, still on his feet across center field. Great run from Keyshawn Reed. And that'll end the first quarter. The score 1-0 after one, and we'll be right back right here on OUA TV.
Raven. I am intelligent and creative. I am bold and determined. I rely on teamwork, and I am accountable. I am a competitor who will defend my territory.
And welcome back to Tag Park here in the nation's capital of Ottawa, Ontario. If you're just joining us, the score is 1-0 after the first quarter. And Keyshawn Reed just had an excellent rush to get the Ravens across center field. So it'll be 1st and 10 for Elijah Barnes and the Ravens offense to start the second quarter. Barnes in the gun. Handoff to Reed. Reed makes a spin move, fighting for yards, and he gets marked down.
He turned
46-yard line.
He turned stopped at the line of scrimmage into 4 yards there with a couple of nice spin moves. So
yep,
great job by Reed.
And on those last run there, he had an excellent run after contact. So 2nd and 6, ball on the 46. Barnes. Handoff to Reed. Reed looking to get outside, but there was nowhere to go there. Brody Clark got into the backfield quickly and brings down Keyshawn Reed for a loss.
Brody Clark shot the gap there and got right in there and busted up that play. Really good job by him. And again, York's defense, bend the don't break. They force a punting situation. Chandra into a bit of a breeze here.
Yeah, I'm really impressed so far with York's defense. They've really been able to contain the Ravens so far. I thought for sure that the Ravens would have a score in the first quarter, and that's not the case. Chandra back to boot it. Morrison back to return, but Chandra didn't get all he wanted on that. That'll go out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. It'll be at the 14-yard line.
Not a good punt, but he got a good roll on that one, and it turned out to be very effective out of bounds at the 14. When you have a, not to get kicking school technical on you, but when you have a breeze like that, your drop is everything. And if you don't have a good drop in this wind, that ball went off of his, more towards his shin than his foot. That's what happens.
Lynn with a handoff on the jet action. That didn't go how they wanted it to.
Isaiah Joseph, a transfer student out of BC, absolutely rodeoed him.
So 2nd and 8 here for the Lions. Van Bruggen in motion. Lynn back to pass. And that pass is complete there for what looks like it could be a first down, and it is. They'll move the sticks. And then Rex Walker there with another completion.
Going back to last week's game between York and Toronto, York was very successful with their screen pass, and they set that one up really well.
So 1st and 10 for the York Lions. Lynn. Quick pass to the outside. That's Avery Ford with the catch.
We're starting to see more of that formation where you've got a double tight end so that the wide receivers have the chance to waggle. You have to have 7 guys on the line, and the other guys can run up to the line.
So on 2nd and 1 here, a handoff that looks like it's bottled up for no gain.
They're signaling 3rd down, so this will be interesting to see what happens on short yardage here.
So now 3rd and 1 after that rush goes nowhere, but it looks like York's going to keep their offense out there and go for it here on 3rd down. May as well. The analytics would tell you to do so, and Matt Lynn buries his way forward, and it looks like he's going to have it.
York went right up to the line there without a huddle, not allowing Carleton a chance to get their Clydesdales in there.
And they're going to give him that 1st down and move the sticks. First and 10 now, ball on the 36 for the Lions. He's going to keep it for himself off the play fake, and here's Matt Lynn with a lot of yards over center field there.
That's going to come back.
Yeah, there's a flag on the play in the back.
There was a holding on the right side of the line on that play, so that's going to come back.
And that's unfortunate after a really great fake there from Matt Lynn. Fakes the handoff, keeps it for himself, gets to the outside. He's one of the leading rushers on this team. Matt Lynn is.
Coming into the game, he's the only rusher on the York team with more than 100 yards.
First and 20 now after that penalty. Matt Lynn back to pass, pressure on him, and he tossed that one away. It was dangerous, almost scooped up by Raven.
York setting up that screen pass again. This time the pass rush got in, but Xavier Malone and Chris Tupan both staying home and busting that up. Schneider Cave got in on that play too. First time we've heard his name today.
Second and 20 here for the Lions. Lynn with 4 receivers to the bottom of your screen. Passes it. That's Van Bruggen on the catch. Van Bruggen gets wrapped up and brought down. Chris Toupin there on the tackle.
Mentioned earlier in the broadcast when Carleton got away with one, York got away with one on that play. On that pass, you can't block downfield until the ball is caught, and Avante McCoy, number 1, had the Carleton defender completely tied up and blocking him before the pass was caught.
Boot here from Walker. Ferdinand back to receive. Ferdinand making his way upfield, and he gets tripped up short of the 45-yard line. That'll be marked at the 44.
Walker hit an absolute bullet line drive there, and the problem is when, we've talked about this before, when you hit a line drive like that, you're giving a guy like Kasim Ferdinand 20 yards of real estate to work with. They're lucky he didn't break one for longer than he did.
The Carleton Ravens offense back in business here in the second quarter. Still just 1 point up on the board for the Ravens. Barnes, quick pass. Derek Yoboa outside. He's going to fight for a few yards there after contact. I think he made his way up to around the 50-yard line. Looks like they'll mark him short of the 50. So down at the 49. Second and 5 here.
Nice to see Derek Yaboa, just get a catch, get up the field 5 yards. That's going to do a lot for his confidence and get kind of the yips out of his system.
Barnes pitches it to Morin. And the flag on the play there, that looks like will bring this play back.
Now that's going to be illegal procedure or offside, whichever. I didn't see who jumped first. Oh, he's got holding.
So second and 15 after the penalty for the Ravens. Ball on their own 38 now.
I'm getting them all wrong today.
Yeah, that was a holding call there.
You don't see the head linesman call holding a lot.
Barnes has ready with a spin move and a first down and more. Tristan Reddy just absolutely excellent. He's the leading receiver on this team in terms of yards. And he's so good, Jeff.
Just a little thing there, spinning to the outside instead of spinning to the inside where York had help. There was nobody on the outside there, and that freed him up for about 20 extra yards.
Tristan Reddy sometimes doesn't get the credit for just how good he is. Sometimes it's all Ferdinand. But Tristan Reddy is an absolutely amazing receiver and one of the best in the league. And Frederick Hatchie with a quick catch outside, and he gets blown up there by a few Lions.
We've mentioned the breeze on the field at field level, and Barnes threw that right into that wind. And did you see the ball? The wind take that ball and flutter it.
Marcellus Pope there, in on the tackle of Frederick Hatchie, and he's made 4 or 5 tackles now in this one. Handoff to Morin. Peyton Ryder on the tackle for the Lions. Middle linebacker.
So they've got 2 yards to go, but they're going to opt for another field goal attempt here. And again, that wind is tricky. It's a 40-yard attempt for Forcier here.
Kick is up, and that'll be good.
Much cleaner contact with that kick.
Yeah, definitely. So Brandon Forcier puts 3 more points up on the board. That'll make this 4-0 for the Ravens. And we'll be right back after a short break here on OUA TV.
Raven. I am intelligent and creative. I am bold and determined. I rely on teamwork, and I am accountable. I am a competitor who will defend my territory.
And we're back here at Tag Park in Ottawa, Ontario. The score is 4-0. We're halfway through the second, more than halfway through the second quarter here. Matt Lynn on 1st and 10, back to pass. Had to make a quick one to Avante McCoy. And Belanger in there on the tackle for the Ravens.
Anybody wondering? Well, I won't tell this story now because they're going with a hurry-up offense, so I'll wait for a bit. We got that double tight end set again. Watch the waggle from the wide receivers.
Matt Lynn back to pass. The pocket collapsed quickly on him, but he's got space to the outside. He's still going, makes a spin move, drops his man. What a run there from Matt Lynn. Drops Andrew Dane Altidore with the spin move, and he's brought down at the 51-yard line.
In the OUA, the receivers on the outside have a little more liberty as far as grabbing cloth on the outside of the sleeves, and you notice Schneider Cave, number 3, was held by number 87 there.
Matt Lynn with another quick pass there to Avante McCoy. He's just looking short of that first down. We'll see where they mark him. Could be a kind marker, but I don't think, though. Looks like he'll be a yard or 2 short. So it'll be 2nd and 2 for the York Lions.
Running that hurry-up offense again.
Brody Burke and Michael Lightbody, defensive lineman, coming in here to try to stuff this play. And they're going to keep it. That's Rex Walker, who was under center to take the snap, and he just ran to the outside with it, and he gets that first down easily.
I like that for a quarterback sneak. If you're going to put somebody else in, put a running back or a tight end or somebody in to do the sneak. Don't put a QB, bring him in off the bench that hasn't played all day.
Yeah, they put in Big Rex Walker.
I still want to see Lightbody go in for quarterback sneaks for Carleton.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. Rex Walker gets his number called again. That would be a short gain of 3 or 4.
Joseph again, another big play coming down the line and making that stop.
Look at Michael Lightbody out there. Just an absolute monster of a
Yeah.
man. So 2nd and 6 here for the Lions. Ball on the 37. Lynn, back to pass, gonna launch it, has a man and a completion. The pass is complete to Avante McCoy.
I asked the York people this week if Avante McCoy was the son or related to Mark McCoy, who played for York in the 80s and was also an Olympic 110-meter hurdler, but they're no relation.
Lynn back to pass. He's got McCoy again. Tried to make a spin move. And Zendro O'Dane Altidore with the tackle.
Good extension and good job, not only making that catch, but coming down on his feet in a position where he could move forward.
So 2nd and 8 here for the Lions, and they're in the red zone, the Robertson Electric red zone here at Carleton University. Knocking on the doorstep, looking to put the first touchdown up on the board in this game are the York Lions. Lynn, back to pass. Looking for a man, has McCoy over the middle. And McCoy is going to get brought down. We'll see where they mark him. It looks like he's just going to be at the 1-yard line, and he is.
The linebackers drop back there from Carleton. They're in a zone. McCoy ran up to the line and just ran right across the line of scrimmage in front of them, got the ball wide open. York knocking at the doorstep here.
And if I'm York, I'm going to run this ball 3 times. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I'd put, Walker's under center.
So here's Rex Walker under center. And he's going to drive forward, and it looks like he's
I don't think he's in.
waiting on the call here, the anticipation.
There we go.
Touchdown! York Lions! First touchdown of the game, and that's Rex Walker who gets it. Wow. If you'd asked me before the game how I, saw this playing out, this is the opposite right here. I didn't see York getting the first touchdown of the game, and I didn't see York leading the game heading into halftime.
This is the first time York has led Carleton since 2013.
Wow. First time in 11 years. That's crazy. And the extra point is good.
Last year when they played, the Ravens beat York 52-0. And 2 years prior to that, the Ravens beat York 52-0.
Yeah, I went back through the history of York's, scores over the last few years, and there's a lot of blowouts in there, but I'll give this to Dexter Janke. He's come in to this program. It's his first year as the coach, and he's done an absolutely incredible job. This team looks like a competent football team compared to, the last few years. It's just been all over the place. No organization, just chaos on the field. And now they look like a team that obviously can piece together drives and make really good plays. And Matt Lynn doing a good job today, making good decisions. He had that one pick in the first quarter, but so far after that has been pretty good.
And that wasn't even a bad decision. He had a guy open. He just missed him.
Yeah, not a bad decision or a bad pass.
You bring in a good head coach with good coordinators and good recruiting, and you can turn a program around pretty quickly.
And Dexter Janke used to coach in the CJFL, the Junior Canadian Football League. And you'll notice, wow, Keyshawn Reed dropped that. And he's going to have a really short return there, 5-yard return after he dropped the ball there in the end zone off the punt. But as I was saying, Dexter Janke, head coach of the York Lions, used to coach in the CJFL. And if you look down this York Lions roster, brought a lot of those guys with him. Not a whole lot of first years on this team. They're new to USports football, but they're mature football players, and they're older guys, 20, 21, that he brought with him.
And that league is a great league for USports teams to recruit from.
So Barnes with the ball in the shadow of his own goal post. Handoff to Matt Morin. And he's got some space, broke a few tackles, and a flag comes down late. Yeah, it looks like that's going to be on the York Lions. That'll be on number 28, Brody Clark.
Big break for Carleton, getting out of the shadows of their own goalpost there. Got some room to breathe and operate their no-huddle offense now.
So 1st and 10 for the Ravens on their own 27-yard line. Barnes has 4 receivers to the bottom of your screen, 1 to the top, and he's looking that way. It's Kasim Ferdinand, has the completion. Ferdinand makes the move. Wow, Kasim Ferdinand, so shifty.
There's Adam, the producer, working that joystick again. He is so quick, though. Absolutely so quick.
It's unbelievable.
Like, he just makes every defender look like they're underwater.
Underwater.
Like, just you're so slow
with
underwater.
a big rock tied to them. Like that's how slow they move when trying to tackle this guy. Barnes back to pass, and that one, whoa, very, very dangerous. Almost picked off there. That was Peyton Ryder who really wanted that. My apologies, that was Raekwon Lewis Gibbs who was in there to break that pass up. Get my 8s and my 3s all mixed up. Second and 10 here for the Ravens. 3 receivers to the strong side, 2 to the weak side, and a flag thrown.
So that's a time
before
count
the play.
violation. They took too much time. So now they're facing a 2nd and 15 instead of a 2nd and 10.
And again, just these penalties for the Ravens not helping them for sure.
I didn't realize we were in the last 3 minutes. So in the last 3 minutes, you have an option in Canadian football. You can either take them back 10 yards instead of 5, or you can roll the down. So York has chosen to roll the down, so it's now 3rd down and 10. That's why we're seeing the punt unit come on. I bet you didn't know that rule.
So many different nuances in the Canadian game. And Chandra boots this one away. Morrison fields it at the 30-yard line, and he makes his way up to the 39.
Minute 40 left in the half, but that's a lot of time. Again, we're going stop time, so in the last 3 minutes, so lots of time for York to get down the field.
So 1st and 10 here for Matt Lynn.
Their last drive was all about Avante McCoy across the middle, though. Let's see if they stick with him.
It was, and it ended up in a touchdown for Rex Walker. So see if they replicate this drive here, but a flag on the play before the snap.
It's looking like the right tackle on that York offensive line moved, so we're going to have an illegal procedure. We're going to go back 5 yards.
So 1st and 15 here.
I feel bad sometimes we only mention the offensive lineman when they have an illegal procedure or holding.
I know. First and 15, ball on the 33 for the York Lions. Lynn back to pass. And he was looking for Ford.
A little bit of incidental contact there with Malik Yusuf with the receiver. Referees are talking it over. I didn't see a flag, though. there is a pass interference. They are calling pass interference on that. So it'll be a first down for York.
So 1st and 10 now for the Lions. That pass was incomplete, but called PI on the Ravens. It was intended for Garen Hardcity. Lynn back to pass, looking deep, looking for McCoy, picked off! Another pick there from the Ravens secondary, and that's the ball hawk himself, Ottman Braum.
Welcome back to the lineup, Ottman Braun, after being out with some injuries.
Wow. I think that was like his first defensive snap of the game there. First time I've seen him, and he comes up with a big pick.
Lynn threw right in the heart of double coverage on that play, so, you know, trying to roll the dice and go for it.
There's a York Lion down on the field here.
So one of the greatest players in York history was a wide receiver named Bill Hattanaka. This Tristan is one of your favorite Uncle Jeff stories here from back in the day. So the 1976 Grey Cup was won by Ottawa. Tony Gabriel, the most memorable catch in Rough Riders history. Bill Hattanaka got a touchdown in that Grey Cup on a record-setting punt return when Ottawa beat Saskatchewan. The year before, he played for York. Now, here's the interesting story about him. I got to know his parents really well. I was working for a company called Pacific Trading Cards. We made NHL hockey cards, and his mom and dad are huge hockey card collectors. So I got to know them, and I read this story about a Japanese-Canadian baseball team called the Vancouver Asahis. Asahi means rising sun, and Canada Post did a series of stamps on it. And this team, they were all interned during World War II, but they continued to play baseball. And Bill Hattanaka's dad was their bat boy. So there's more to this story. I'll get you after this play because it's fascinating.
And Asahi, it's a great Japanese beer as well. I don't know if my dad's watching this game, but if he is, he'll appreciate that. One of his favorites. Barnes back to pass and absolutely hammered. There was Ferdinand. Two defenders there quickly on him.
So when the war ended, these people that lived, the Japanese Canadians that lived in Vancouver, the Canadian government took everything, took their homes, took their property, took everything and just gave them each $50. Here, get on with your life. That's all you get. And they ended up moving to Toronto. More to come.
Barnes, 2nd and 10. Has Tristan ready outside. The catch is made. And it looks like he's got the first down. They'll move those sticks.
Reddy just about broke that one outside. So the Hattanakas moved to Toronto, and, you know, they get on with their lives. Bill is born in Toronto. Bill became the president of TD Waterhouse. But in 1976, more to come.
1st and 10 now for the Ravens. Barnes back to pass, but pressure coming. He has to get rid of that one, and it's caught.
That'll be a first
Tristan
down.
Reddy again.
Reddy's having himself a game.
Oh my goodness, so good.
So
is Tristan Reddy.
In 1976, the Hattanaka family goes to a flea market in Buffalo, and there are all their family possessions at a flea market in Buffalo. And
Barnes has Tristan Reddy again, who breaks the first tackle and then gets brought down on the second. That's going to be a short gain, if any. I don't think he got anything there.
On that
yeah.
play. So I asked Mr. Hattanaka, did you buy any of your old stuff back? And he said, I would never pay for my own things that were stolen from me. And again, more to come.
Barnes has a Kasim Ferdinand over the middle, and he gets wrapped up in a sea of white there.
It took 9 York Lions to take Kasim Ferdinand down on that play. Unbelievable.
Yeah, he broke loose after the first tackle, and it slowed him down just enough for the rest of the Lions to get there.
And
But
lots
listen,
of time left, 45 seconds.
Barnes and the Ravens are marching down this field right here before the end of the half.
You're just waiting to see where the story goes, right?
Barnes back to pass. Tristan Reddy over the middle now, and he gets his feet taken out from under him.
He'll have
and
a first
another
down.
first down. So the Ravens just stringing together pass after pass after pass. And they now find themselves right inside the red zone on the 20-yard line. Barnes back to pass again, looking Ferdinand, and that one's tipped up, and that was so dangerous.
So close.
Oh, my goodness.
Pops that ball up in the air.
And there, Ferdinand, he's got to know a little bit better. If you know that you don't have it, you got to tip it down. You can't tip it up because that easily could have ended in an interception for the York Lions.
So where we left off, Mr. Hatnaka told me, he said, I would never pay for my own stuff, and he was so furious. He told me at that moment, I hated Canada. I hated being in Canada. I hated what Canada did to my family, and I couldn't stand Canada. I was so upset. But then a week later, my son was the Grey Cup hero, and I loved Canada all over again. So within 2 weeks, he went from seeing his own stuff at a flea market and being disgusted, and then Bill Hatnaka sets the Grey Cup record for longest punt return as a rookie out of York. And then all of a sudden, he fell in love with Canada, and it was great. And I used to see Mr. and Mrs. Hatnaka every year at the Toronto Expo as they were big hockey card collectors and just the most wonderful people you could ever imagine. And Bill Hatnaka will be known in Ottawa forever for that punt return and, a 4-year CFL career, but then he goes on to be president of TD Waterhouse. So he did okay after football, I would think.
And for those wondering, Jeff's brain is just a vault filled with, historical Canadian football knowledge.
I grew up on a farm and had nothing else to do.
Nothing better. So 2nd and 10 here for the Ravens. Ball still on the 20-yard line, and they have 27 seconds to make something happen before the end of the first half. Barnes went through his progressions there, and he's looking for Reddy, and that's going to be incomplete. A few York Lions there to on the coverage.
With the incomplete pass now, the ball stops on the snap. So, yeah, they're sending the field goal. Sending the field goal unit, hopefully getting out of this first half with a tie.
So Brandon Forcier in to tie this one up. And after this field goal, assuming he makes it, he'll only need one more to move up on the all-time career points. And that kick is good, so that'll tie this game at 7 heading into the first half. But the York Lions offense will get to run a play or two before this ends.
Now this is a you've got probably 3 plays. Do you try to get it down, try to throw a couple passes and get it down in field goal range, or do you just knee the ball out? I don't see victory formation here, so let's see what they put together. Carleton's in a cover 0 with no safety.
And Alunga to run this ball. He does not get much on that rush. And Schneider-Cave there on the tackle.
If you're just going to run the clock out like that, why take the chance of getting a ball stripped going through the line? Just take a knee.
Yeah, and they'll let the clock wind down here and run their last play. And they'll rush it again. Alunga getting outside. And he gets brought down. And that will bring the first half of action to a close with a tie. York 7, Ravens 7. And we'll be right back for the halftime show. Don't go anywhere.
I belong.
I belong. I belong.
I belong.
I belong.
I belong.
I belong.
Saying I belong carries significance.
It goes beyond individual or team performance.
It touches on the broader social context of the representation within sport.
Saying I belong conveys a powerful message.
A message of empowerment, resilience, and the breaking of barriers.
Signifies determination to overcome obstacles
and succeed in an environment that may not always be inclusive
or representative of diverse backgrounds.
Saying I belong asserts the right to be recognized, respected, and valued.
It highlights a desire to challenge stereotypes and to promote diversity.
It inspires others from similar backgrounds
to pursue their dreams in sport while feeling supported.
Saying I belong can also serve as a reminder to the sports community.
A reminder of the importance of inclusivity, equal opportunity.
And create an environment that celebrates and embraces diversity.
It can pave the way for greater representation
and contribute to positive change in the industry.
Saying I belong is a powerful affirmation
that everyone has a rightful place in the sport.
Where exceptional student athletes are born, where records are broken, where great plays are made, where school colors ignite passion, where champions prevail, where tradition is celebrated, Ontario University Athletics.
David Walker, open look, yes, rattles it home. Sagal for three goes.
To the rim, flips it up, using the off-hand and scoring. Silas to the rim with a roll with the left hand.
Oh, what a feed! Oh, what a dunk! Back the other way, Jette, the up, the under, and the finish. USports player putting it on.
Baker crops over the timeline with a pull-up three. Bam! From the University of Toronto, the Varsity Blues. Rainbow still coming.
There's Walker to the rim, yes! David Walker!
Pittsburgh challenge, bother up and good.
Throws it down.
9 on the clock. Wide open jumper, up and good.
This is what girls do. 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 This is what girls do.
am a Raven. I am intelligent and creative. I am bold and determined. I rely on teamwork, and I am accountable. I am a competitor who will defend my territory.
And welcome to the Ravens halftime show. And Jeff, really the first thing that I want to talk to you about is just how heavily penalized the Carleton Ravens have been and how it's really hurt them in terms of yards lost.
It's not just the number of penalties, but it's the timing of the penalties that's been difficult. Carleton in penalties has, I just lost my spot here, I'm sorry. 115 yards in penalties to York's 55. And they're just self-destructing with those penalties. They've got to get more disciplined.
Yeah, they've had some of those penalties come in the red zone that pushed them back out of the red zone or gave them second and really long in the red zone. And that's just not something you want when you're looking to win a game. And this is a game that they really need to win. And in terms of offense, they've been much better in terms of just moving the ball, getting the ball down the field. But the score does not reflect that. We're tied 7-7 here.
246 yards of total offense for Carleton and only 104 for York, and most of that 104 came on that touchdown drive where they went the length of the field. So what the problem with Carleton is that they're getting down the field and then they're stalling. It's a holding penalty. It's a late hit. It's something like that that's taking them back, and all they've got to show for it is 3 field goal attempts, 2 of them good and 1 of them for a single point. So Carleton's been controlling this game, but they've got to finish off their drives.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about that York Lions touchdown drive and what you saw there from them.
Just a fantastic job by Carleton or by York, reading what football's a game of you take what the defense is giving you. They're dropping their linebackers off. There's a crossing route seam underneath. Avante McCoy's catching the ball in wide open space. He's a great shifty runner. They just march the ball down the field and nothing deep. When they try to throw a deep pass, that's when Oddman Braun got his interception. So as long as they're patient, as long as they take what Carleton is giving them, York can keep the Carleton defense on the field and keep those sustained drives.
And historically, in the third quarter, the Ravens just they aren't that good. So what adjustments can York make here to really take advantage of that? To maybe go up here in the third quarter.
Well, this is where the chess match begins. You've got both coaches with their assistants, guys up in the booth upstairs, watching the game and taking notes and what adjustments are they going to make. Carleton is in a situation now not where York has to adjust to them, but Carleton has to adjust to York, and then on conversely, Carleton's got to make some adjustments so that they can move the ball and finish those drives.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeff. And thank you for tuning in to Carleton Ravens football on OUA TV. And we'll be right back for third quarter action shortly.
I belong.
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 Saying I belong carries significance.
It goes beyond individual or team performance.
It touches on the broader social context of the representation within sport.
Saying I belong conveys a powerful message.
A message of empowerment, resilience, and the breaking of barriers.
Signifies determination to overcome obstacles
and succeed in an environment that may not always be inclusive
or representative of diverse backgrounds.
Saying I belong asserts the right to be recognized, respected, and valued.
It hides a desire to challenge stereotypes and to promote diversity.
It inspires others from similar backgrounds
to pursue their dreams in sport while feeling supported.
Saying I belong can also serve as a reminder to the sports community.
A reminder of the importance of inclusivity, equal opportunity.
And create an environment that celebrates and embraces diversity.
It can pave the way for greater representation
and contribute to positive change in the industry.
Saying I belong is a powerful affirmation
that everyone has a rightful place in the sport.
where exceptional student athletes are born, where records are broken, where great plays are made, where school colors ignite passion, where champions prevail, where tradition is celebrated. Ontario University Athletics.
David Walker, open look, yes, rattles it home. Sagal for 3 goes.
To the rim, flips it up, using the offhand and scoring. Silas to the rim with the left hand.
Oh, what a feed! Oh, what a dunk! Back the other way, Jette, the up, the under, and the finish. USports player putting it on.
Baker crops over the timeline with a pull-up three. Bam! From the University of Toronto, the Porcelain Blues. Rainbow still going.
There's Walker to the rim, yes! David Walker!
Pittsburgh challenge. Barber up and good.
Throws it down.
9 on the clock. Wide open jumper. Up and good.
I belong.
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 Saying I belong carries significance.
It goes beyond individual or team performance.
It touches on the broader social context of the representation within sport.
Saying I belong conveys a powerful message.
A message of empowerment, resilience, and the breaking of barriers.
Signifies determination to overcome obstacles
and succeed in an environment that may not always be inclusive
or representative of diverse backgrounds.
Saying I belong asserts the right to be recognized, respected, and valued.
It hides a desire to challenge stereotypes and to promote diversity.
It inspires others from similar backgrounds
to pursue their dreams in sport while feeling supported.
Saying I belong can also serve as a reminder to the sports community.
A reminder of the importance of inclusivity, equal opportunity.
And create an environment that celebrates and embraces diversity.
It can pave the way for greater representation
and contribute to positive change in the industry.
Saying I belong is a powerful affirmation
that everyone has a rightful place in the sport.
And welcome back to Tag Park here in the nation's capital of Ottawa, Ontario. And so far we've had some interesting football. Tie game 7-7 here. York is really, you know, they're staying shot for shot with Carleton so far. And we talked in the half there, Jeff, and see if they make these adjustments to really come at Carleton in the third quarter and get ahead in this game, because Carleton, as we mentioned throughout the season, they haven't been a good team in the third quarter. That's when teams really separate from them. And we'll just see what adjustments, if any, York makes. And for Carleton, this is really just, you have to win this game. You really, really have to. And we'll see if they do what it takes to be able to do that. Because so far, as I mentioned, York is although they're getting outplayed a little bit, they're sticking with them and they're making big plays. And Carleton's hurting themselves with penalties. So they just got to clean all that up and go out there and have a good third quarter and then finish the game strong in the fourth.
Carleton has lost a few games they should have won. And if you go back to their last 7 losses, they've lost on 2 walk-off 55-yard field goals.
To Ottawa and Windsor.
And they've lost on 2 games where they've thrown a pick in the end zone with less than a minute left.
Which was last week against McMaster, and what was the other time?
The playoffs last year against Guelph.
Against Guelph or Windsor?
Or against Windsor, yes.
Yeah, it was Harrison Daly in the end zone, number 27, the safety for Windsor, who made that play and picked them off. Don't know how I randomly remembered that, but
I didn't. You're the one with the brain vault.
You're the brain vault, man. And the kick is off, and here is the return from the Lions, and a change of direction and a spin brought down at the 30.
York really set up a wall on that return extremely well. And then a great cutback, good vision by the returner there. Good field position to start for York.
That was Garen Hartsity there on the return. So Lions offense taking the field at the 31-yard line. See what Matt Lynn has in store for this drive. Rex Walker in the backfield, 3 receivers to the bottom of your screen, 2 to the top. Now those receivers in motion, a handoff to Walker. Walker goes nowhere, and he got through. Oh my goodness. He was piled up, but spun his way through.
Number 81 on that play, I believe that's Avery Ford. Okay, so what he does on that play is he runs across the line of scrimmage from the right side to the left. And what that does is that freezes one of the linebackers and creates a hole, because you don't know whether he's going to catch a screen pass out there or a pass in the flats. You don't know if it's going to be a jet sweep, whatever. So a well-executed play.
So it's 2nd and 6 now after the gain of 4 for the Lions, and another handoff to Avante McCoy. And that ends in no yards gained, and will bring out the Lions punt team.
Good tackle by Malik Yusuf on that play. McCoy using that spin move, and didn't work that time. So a good 2-and-out for the Carleton defense, and that's what they needed to come out and start this quarter with.
T ready, the man, back to return after a bad punt, and here comes Reddy, and he gets brought down at the 49-yard line.
Into this wind, you want to keep the ball down on those punts, but the problem is that Carleton only has 1 player deep, and they have 11 up on the line. So if that happens, there's nobody to field the ball, so you're going to get a 10-15-yard roll on that. And 10-15-yard roll gives the coverage team a lot of time to get downfield.
Credit Maxim Roberts, the DB of the York Lions, on that special teams tackle there. Elijah Barnes and the Carleton Ravens offense back out on the field, and Barnes fumbles the ball. Wow. Lucky that he got back on that, but he brought his arm back and he just lost it.
Yeah, you don't see that a lot.
No, you don't. He's definitely going to beat himself up over that there. So a loss of 9 after that fumble, that mistake there from Elijah Barnes, and really that was just unforced.
That puts, again, a 2nd down and long. That puts them back into a hole. Look at the York defense. They've got 8 guys. Okay, they're moving a couple in the box now, but they've got a lot of guys back. They're not going to give up a big play.
Pressure coming, and they get it to him, but the pass is off. Frederick Hatchie with the green grass ahead, and he makes a cut to the corner. There he goes, Frederick Hatchie. Will he get it? He does. Touchdown, Frederick Hatchie on 2nd and 19. After we thought all might be lost for this drive, Frederick Hatchie says no, 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 and credit Elijah Barnes with a great pass, and he took a big hit.
He took a big hit, good poise to get in there. And again, I just finished saying York's not going to give up a big play. They had 7 guys back there. and he found a seam, and then off to the races. So great job by Hatchie.
And there's so many times in that run there from Hatchie that I thought he was going to get taken down. I thought it would be over, and he just kept going.
Absolute restaurant quality run by Hatchie there. What Tom Bailey was to the band the Thompson Twins, Frederick Hatchie is to the Ravens. Got to throw an 80s pop culture music thing at you once in a while, you know.
And just interesting, take note here, Zach Georges is warming up on the sideline for the Ravens. So we'll see if any changes happen at the quarterback position.
I didn't see, oh yeah, Barnes did hold on that play. So he might have taken a shot in his sternum or
yeah.
I don't know, it'll be interesting to see. We'll keep an eye on him on the bench.
He looks to be okay, and I mean he made up for his mistake with a huge pass there.
Yeah. And that takes a lot of poise to stand in the pocket. You know you're going to get a shot like that.
He is a lefty, so it came a little bit from his blind side, but he might not have seen it coming, but I definitely saw that pressure coming. He got hammered as he let go of that ball, but he delivered over center, and Frederick Hatchie with just an amazing run into the end zone there. And Forcier will boot this one away.
York set up a pretty good wall with a return left on that last play. Let's see if they do that again.
Hard City fields the ball at the 5, and he's looking out to the left side of the field, and I don't know about that decision to make that cut up the left side rather than coming up the right sideline.
It's pretty hard to know when you've got to kind of break through that scene. Ben Huckabone, a big tackle on that play for the Ravens on special teams. Guy's a fantastic athlete. Very good basketball player in high school at Ashbury College, and you know, as much as players focus on one sport, it's good to see multi-sport athletes, and that's the one thing coaches like.
Yeah, Elijah Barnes is one of those, dual sport athletes. And a handoff here to Ilunga. He's looking to get outside. Zendro Dane Altidore grabs his foot and brings him down. Sorry, that might actually be Jake Henderson on the tackle. It is.
Again, they're going tempo again with no huddle.
So 2nd and 6 now for the York Lions. Lynn fakes the run, and he got hammered there.
Carleton only rushed 4, but they rushed from the A and B gaps right up the middle there, and really blew up that play.
Malik Yusuf.
Yeah, Malik Yusuf and Okenya was in there. Ife Okenya came in. Oh, there is a flag on the play.
That's
didn't see that.
Grounding there. He didn't get outside the pocket before he let go of that ball.
Didn't see if there was a receiver in sight.
No.
Ife Okenya has 7 sacks this year. The school record is 10.5 in a season by his cousin Kenny Onyeka.
So 3rd and 18 for the Lions. They're going to punt this one away, and that's
a good punt into the wind. That's what you want. Right by the sideline.
To return, and he doesn't get much on that return. He's just over center field. Pretty good field position here to start this drive for the Ravens.
So Kenny Onyeka was recruited to come to Carleton, and the reason that he chose Carleton above anything else was the tunnels on campus. He hated winter. He hated going outside, and the fact that he could not have to go outside and go to his classes all winter was the deciding factor on him coming to Carleton.
I don't blame him at all. I also do not like winter weather and love the tunnels in the winter. Barnes hands it off, and here's Joey Marcotte with his first rush of the game, and he made a hit there. So Joey Marcotte, his first rush of really the season that we've seen him.
First of the season. Now, we've been waiting for Joey Marcotte. He had a high ankle sprain in a preseason scrimmage against Concordia, but he comes to the Ravens as the top-ranked running back out of Quebec.
He was highly recruited by Laval and chose to come to Carleton.
Tunnels.
Gotta love those tunnels. Barnes, a handoff. Here's Marcotte again, and it looks like he should have the first down.
Very shifty runner
Just
inside.
short.
Couple of nice cuts reading that hole. He's going to be short by about a foot.
Yeah, it's going to be 3rd and 1 here, and we'll see. They're going to bring in Zach Georges to rush this ball.
Look at where that ball's spotted. I don't know if that should be measured or not. That's pretty close. Couldn't be more than 6 inches.
Yeah, they're not going to bring the sticks out, and Zach George is going to be under center here, and he's just going to plow forward to try to get the, and that's easy money. He gets it, but 2 flags down on
so the York defense was lined up offside within the neutral zone. Both
these receivers out here.
Well, right on the line. So both sideline officials got it.
So either way, first down for the Ravens. Imagine they'll decline that penalty. Zach Georges takes his first snap of the game there, converts on 3rd down, and now Elijah Barnes back in the gun for the Ravens. 4 receivers to his left, 2 to his right. Barnes back to pass, looking for Hatchie. Hatchie, the spin move, now looking to get outside, breaks a few tackles and is brought down over the 30-yard line at the 28-yard line. And Marcellus was in on that tackle. Marcellus Pope.
Good spin move by Hatchie there, but he spun inside where he had 3 York defenders coming to help out on that play.
First and 10 on the 28.
I think we're going to see Marcotte again here.
3 receivers left. Yeboah, Ferdinand, and Marcotte gets the handoff. And here he goes, Joey Marcotte. He's a physical guy. He's initiating the contact on a lot of these runs here. He'll be short of the first down.
He looks just like Moran and Rocha. Same size, same build, same speed. They hit the hole the same way.
And another handoff to Marcotte.
So they're going to be about 1.5 yards short here. Let's see if they go for it.
I'd imagine that they will go for it. Wow. It was so seamless on the first try. No, they're going to bring out Forcier. So they'll settle for a field goal on this drive. They actually lost a yard there on that rush. 3rd and 3.
And this has been Carleton's Achilles heel. You know, you've got to finish drives down here. It's great to see Brandon Forcier get lots of field goals, but he'd rather be kicking extra points.
So Forcier boots this one off. So 28-yard field goal there for Forcier. And I believe, Jeff, that moves him up in the rankings for points scored in a season.
Yeah, it does, and he's also within reach of becoming the 2nd leading scorer in Carleton history, behind Michael Demagala. He was in 3rd place by about 15 points coming into the game. Some farm boy hack is in 2nd place.
Matt Lynn back to pass, looking for an option, ran out of time, ended up getting hit.
The guy he's chasing on the all-time list had 1,012,000 singles on missed field goals. So that was you figured out it was me, right? Brandon is just an incredible kicker and deadly accurate.
2nd and 10 here for the Lions. Down by 10, looking to piece together a drive. They're going to hand it, faked me out. Matt Lynn on the pass, and he has the completion. There's Van Bruggen there, Blake Van Bruggen with the catch. And Matt Lynn, really great play fake there.
He's a good ball handler.
He is.
And again, we talk about guys multi-sports. If you're coming here with a basketball background, it makes such a difference on how you handle the ball, how you catch the ball, how like other sports help you so much.
Now a handoff to Ilunga, and he gets eaten up for a loss. Malchus Ilunga goes nowhere on that rush. Few Ravens in there on the tackle.
There's a quarterback that played in the NFL named Tim Couch, who was the #1 overall pick by the Cleveland Browns in 1999 out of Kentucky. And he actually went to Kentucky to play basketball, not football.
Matt Lynn back to pass, and he's going to let it go. Wide open completion there. Jake Henderson in on the tackle, but Garen Hardcity with the catch.
Getting back to Tim Couch, he was such a good basketball player. He averaged 38 points a game in high school as a senior, but he actually started for his high school team in 8th grade. They brought him up from 8th grade to play on the varsity team.
Wow. And Avery Ford here, the Old Dominion University transfer from the NCAA down in the Sun Belt Conference. Now playing at York, and he grabs a catch there.
Anybody who's a 1980s NBA fan will remember World B. Free, probably the most famous athlete to ever come from Old Dominion.
Second and 11 for the Lions. Lynn lets it go, and Avery Ford with another catch. And
Great
he
extension.
stretched that one out. See if they give him the first down. And they're going to move the sticks. So great job by Avery Ford to really stretch his arms out there before he was brought down.
That's a real
and
heads-up play.
Yeah, and get that first down. He knew exactly where the sticks were.
He kept his knees off the ground before he stretched out, too.
And this would be a handoff to Ilunga, and a flag's down in the backfield. If this ends in a touchdown, it won't, but this play is going to come back. It's going to be a holding there on the offense. Saw that from up here. So we'll bring that play back, but had that not happened, that would have been a really great run there from Ilunga, but that hold kind of sprung him free. Hard to show you without a replay, but
what number is 4? Okay.
First and 20 for the York Lions now after that penalty. The Ravens fans making some noise for the Ravens defense. Looking for a stop here on 1st and 20. Matt Lynn was looking for Avery Ford on that out route. Overthrew it.
Carleton linebacker Xavier Malone, number 43, was just being treated by the trainers off the field. He's got his calf heavily taped. He's kind of limping. So, again, one of the big guys in the Ravens defense is off. So let's see if that's a factor.
2nd and 20 now after that incompletion. Matt Lynn in the gun. Lynn back to pass. Pressures here. And he throws that one, and that's Avery Ford on the catch, but not going to be able to bully his way forward for a first down when it all gets bottled up. And they'll bring out the field goal unit.
One thing you saw in that play is York had trips formation, they had a quads formation on the near side. They ran their waggle, and then they sent a man in motion across to see how the Carleton defense reacted, and so it was a very obvious zone defense the York was facing, and that helps the quarterback so much when they can make that read before the snap.
So 42-yard field goal attempt. And that one was missed. Ravens will, that's Keyshawn Reed who gets it out of the end zone, and he is pushed out of bounds around the 12-yard line.
We do have a flag on the play. Now, without a flag, the ball would automatically come out to the 20-yard line for getting it out of the end zone.
So 1st and 10 here for the Ravens. And we were waiting for the media timeout there. Finally, it gets called. So we'll be right back after a short break right here on OUA TV.
This is what girls do. 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 This is what girls do.
And we're back here at Tag Park.
So if you're wondering why the ball is at the 5 after that play, usually it comes out to the 20. But when there's a penalty, when the ball's in the end zone on the return, the penalties are always applied from the 10. So if it was, say, a 15-yard penalty against York, it would go to the 25. But because it's an illegal block against the Ravens, the ball is half the distance to the goal line on the 10-yard penalty, which makes it the 5.
So 1st and 10 here for the Ravens. Deep in their own end. Barnes in the gun. And Matt Morin with the run. And he breaks loose, and here he goes. What a rush there from Matt Morin. And that'll take them across the 25-yard line up to the 27.
Great job by Carleton, the offensive line there. Now Carleton's running tempo.
Barnes back to pass, has T ready, Tristan ready with the catch. Had a little bit more after the catch, and he gets pushed out of bounds, tackled out of bounds by Raekwon Lewis-Gibbs.
Definitely Tristan Reddy's best game as a Raven, as a receiver today so far. He had 6 catches and nearly 100 yards in the first half alone.
Yeah, and I spoke about him in the first half that, you know, he doesn't really get all the credit that he deserves. Sometimes it's Ferdinand, but Tristan Reddy really is just an amazing receiver and one of the core guys on this offense. And after that rush, looks like there's a Raven down. That was the center, McCoy, but he's up and good. So 2nd and 10 here.
passing situation, they take fullback Aiden Arnott-Smith out and Derek Yaboa is back into the game at slot.
Barnes out of the shotgun. Back to pass. And dangerous pass there to Kasim Ferdinand, who had to jump up for it.
What an athletic play by Ferdinand, though. He nearly came down with that.
Yeah, there was a few Lions, though, in the area. Peyton Ryder, the main one. Chandra on to boot this away for the Ravens after that incompletion. And Malachi Morrison back to receive this punt for the York Lions. Nice boot from Chandra. And Flynn fields it at the 27, and he's pushed out at the 30, so a 3-yard return there.
Fantastic punt by Chandra. Not only good hang time, got some distance, and put the ball exactly where he needed to, about 3 yards inside the sideline.
Yeah, give him 5 there on the return. $15 seconds to go in the third quarter.
This has been a very good third quarter for Carleton compared to what we've seen with the rest of the year.
So, time for one more play here, and that one's a pass. Ilunga gets wrapped up. Malchus Ilunga gets a gain of
looks
about
like he
4 there.
Yeah, it looks like he got 4, maybe 5.
Carl Von Einseidel with the tackle for the Ravens. And that should end the first quarter. It does, sorry, the third quarter. So after that rush from Ilunga, the third quarter comes to an end, and we'll be right back here on OUA TV for fourth quarter action.
This is what girls do. 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 This is what girls do.
And welcome back here in the nation's capital of Ottawa, Ontario. And fourth quarter action here in this game between the York Lions and the Carleton Ravens. Carleton up by 10 starting the fourth quarter here, 17-7. And we'll see Matt Lynn on 2nd and 5 here with the York Lions offense. 2 receivers to the bottom of your screen, 3 to the top. Lynn looking for Avery Ford, has him for a first down. And the Old Dominion transfer does it again.
Avery Ford had a tremendous game against Toronto last week, and he's having a really good second half here today. Very steady, gets open, consistent.
So 1st and 10 here for Matt Lynn. He's going to shovel it off to Ilunga. Ilunga has a hole, and he hit it hard. He gets brought down maybe just short of the first down. Yeah, they'll give him 8 on that run. I'll leave it with 2nd and 2.
Getting back to Avery Ford, he now has 5 catches in the game for about 30 yards.
Matt Lynn back to pass on second down, airs it out, and you could have, there's no flag. Oh, there is a flag. That's going to be PI on, looks like either Jake Henderson or Ottman Brom.
Yeah, that was Ottman
Brom,
Brom
yeah.
on that play. He was doing a little bit of water skiing.
Yeah, that was definitely
And,
PI. Can't argue with that. We saw it from up here.
In Canadian amateur football, in USports, that's a 15-yard penalty. It's not a point of infraction, so it's not like the ball goes down 30 or 40 yards. It's a 15-yard gain. Ottman Braun talking to the official there.
Yeah, really no leg to stand on for him. That was.
They're either talking about what did I do, or hey, are you going to watch the first episode of Masked Singer? It's one or the other.
I'm going to go with the first, and I'm going to say that the official probably said, hey, man, that was clear as day. Lynn back to pass. Looking for McCoy. Has him. McCoy gets out. Going to be marked down on the 27-yard line.
What was really good about that pass by Lynn there is that he used his sideline to an advantage. If McCoy did not catch that, it would have been out of bounds. There's no chance for an interception on that. He threw it to McCoy's outside shoulder. Really, really placed well.
First and 10 now for the Lions. Stringing together a drive with some help from penalties. Alunga breaks loose. And he's going to be short of the first down. Brody Birkin on the tackle.
York ran a double tight end set again there with trips on the outside with all three receivers going up to the line. But what that did was that kind of changed the Carleton defense a bit and opened up that hole.
And Alunga now on the rush. Hard to see from here, but it looks like he'll have the first down. He does. They'll move the sticks. And now the York Lions getting the ball inside the Robertson Electric red zone here at Carleton University.
York using a zone run blocking scheme there, and it's up to the running back to find the first seam, and he did that very well.
Lynn back to pass, looking outside, and that was dangerous. Jake Henderson wanted to grab that one.
Jake Henderson's a total ball hawk, and the way he accelerated to get that overthrown pass was he had an extra gear that he hadn't shown earlier.
Yeah, not only is Jake Henderson a ball hawk, but he's also just a freak. Like, he wants to make every hit if possible, and he's all over the field delivering hits, making tackles, coming up with big plays, and that's why they love Hendo here on the Ravens. Now 2nd and 10 for Matt Lynn. Back to pass. Looking near side, going to keep it for himself, and he is sack lunch, baby. Ife Onyeka.
Now, I don't know if that's going to be a sack or not, because he might have got a gain of 1 on that play.
I'm not sure.
Oh, no, they do. It's a loss of 1, so they are giving him a sack.
Yeah.
That's 8 for the season now for Onyeka.
Talk about another guy that loves to make big plays all over the field. He is the leading pass rusher in the league in the OUA.
And he had a frustrating week last week against McMaster.
Yeah, he just could not get back there, and on that, first-year tackle that he was going up against, couldn't beat him. That field goal, that extra, it's a field goal, and that is going to be good there for the Lions.
That makes this a 1-score game.
17-10 now. Ravens in charge of this one. 11 and a half minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. That was a good drive there by the Lions. They had help from some penalties on the Ravens, but they just couldn't get it done in terms of getting a touchdown once they got down into the red zone. But they get a score and put themselves within reach. Elijah Barnes and the Carleton Ravens offense back out on the field now. 2 receivers on the strong side, 2 on the weak side, and a play fake. Wanted Kasim Ferdinand, but that just went through his legs a little bit low, but really should have had that.
Yeah, and he had some room to go too, because again, one of those football rule things. If you catch the ball behind the line of scrimmage, your other receivers could go down and block before the ball's caught, and that play was designed to be caught behind the line of scrimmage. So Ferdinand had a lot of help in front of him to make a big play out of that if he would have caught the ball.
Yeah, and plus you just have to assume that Ferdinand's going to make the first man miss anyways.
Oh,
That's
exactly.
just what he does.
Adam running the joystick and everything.
And a short pass there to Tristan Reddy, but he gets the first down and takes the hit. Hope that he's okay. That hit was low at his legs there. He's all good. Walking it off. Move the sticks there for the Ravens, and another first down, another completion there into the hands of Tristan Reddy.
Reddy now has 8 catches on the game, which is his career high. He's having one of those days.
Just can't be stopped. First and 10. Receivers in motion. Barnes back to pass, airing it out. Wants Tristan Reddy. Has Tristan Reddy. Oh my goodness. He is just too good. Spin that ball, boy. Wow. Tristan Reddy off the deep ball from Elijah Barnes.
As if Tristan Reddy's not going to catch that. There's a north magnet in the ball and a south magnet in his hands today.
I'm getting note here to mention the Robertson Electric Red Zone from our producer, but clearly he hasn't been listening. As we've mentioned it a few times. Kasim Ferdinand, he gets there. Touchdown! Oh my goodness, they had him wrapped up and he just kept going, pushing forward. Ferdinand, what a score!
What an incredible second effort by Ferdinand, and that was, I mean, we saw Avery Ford make a play like that before, but incredible drive by Ferdinand there.
They'll bring out Forcier for the extra point. That's unbelievable. That whole sequence, the long bomb from Barnes to Reddy, passes into double coverage, and Reddy still comes up with the catch. And then Ferdinand there, a great play, 21-yard touchdown.
That's his 17th career touchdown as a Raven. That's 5th all time for the Ravens, and he breaks the 100-point barrier today. So pretty elite club that he joined. So
and
3 players: Scott Alexander from the 70s, Joe Barnaby from the 80s, and then Nate Bahar from the last decade, all have 22 touchdowns in their career. Nathan Carter, the running back, have 21. Ferdinand is next with 17.
That's 5 touchdowns now on the season as well for Kasim Ferdinand, and almost has a touchdown in every game. And great time to talk now about the Panda game coming up next weekend. It'll be on Sunday, October 6th. It's going to take place at TD Place. And with Ottawa taking a loss today to Laurier, and Carleton trending to have a win here against York, that game gets all the more important for both squads. It could end up as one of those situations of whoever wins is able to get into the playoffs, and that's huge.
That's going to be a huge game, and we mentioned it on the broadcast last week. 596,000 fans have attended the Panda game, and if you have not been to a Panda game, it's just a Canadian university football game like none other. The pageantry, the hype, the emotion, it's just like nothing you would ever see in any other stadium in Canada.
Yeah, it really is just such a fun environment to be in. Last year we got the call. This year it's Ottawa hosting, so they'll have their own commentators on the call. We'll get to sit back and enjoy, Jeff, and I'm excited for that as Alunga catches a pass there from Matt Lynn for a 6-yard gain. That'll leave us with 2nd and 4.
I played in 5 Panda games, and so many great memories of crazy things that have happened in those games.
Yeah, and really, this is the Ravens' year to kind of change the recent history on that game. As tackle for a big loss there.
Looks like Chris Toupin.
Yeah, Chris Toupin gets in there and has another tackle for a loss. That's his 17th solo tackle of the season.
Getting back to Kasim Ferdinand on that touchdown, he has 4 catches today. That ties him for 3rd all-time in receptions for the Ravens with 135.
And he's going to return this punt here, and he's got some space to the outside. It's a foot race, ladies and gentlemen. Green gas ahead. Nobody's going to touch him. Kasim Ferdinand waves to the defenders and touchdown. Oh, my goodness.
There's touchdown number 18.
Oh, wow. And touchdown number 6 of the season for Kasim Ferdinand. And Tristan Reddy had a touchdown off a punt return last week, and now Kasim Ferdinand with one this week.
Uh-oh.
And don't tell me there's a flag.
Okay, I won't tell you, but there's a flag.
Oh, man, excited for nothing there.
I believe we've said in the broadcast before today, maybe a couple times, that the most commonly penalized play in football is the punt return.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that.
Well, here we go again.
Wow. That's unfortunate. Scratch that. No touchdown.
Yeah, you got to push in the back on that return, which is just so unfortunate. I mean, you're taking 6 points off the board, and
so first
and now Kasim Ferdinand has to sit off and get some oxygen.
Yeah. Handoff. Here comes Joey Marcotte barreling his way through, and he's still on his feet. First down and more from the first-year Joey Marcotte.
What a strong, powerful runner he is inside. And a great addition to the Ravens running game.
And he reminds me, Jeff, of Nathan Carter, just a physical runner. He gets in there and he makes hits, and it just a great runner is Joey Marcotte.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. He's very, very similar in the way he runs to Nathan Carter. A north-south runner, and on zone runs he knows when to cut up, and it just hits the hole hard.
It's a 2nd and 8 after that gain of 2 from Joey Marcotte.
It's like trying to tackle an SUV.
Exactly. Trying to tackle an F-150, and this is just a brutal snap there for the Ravens. Barnes was not ready for it, didn't call for it, and McCoy snapped it anyways, and that's going to be a huge loss, and that's one of those ones that as a head coach, you just have to shake your head.
That looked a lot like, remember that Denver Super Bowl when they got blown up by the Seahawks, and Peyton Manning's calling a signal, and all of a sudden the ball whizzes by his ear.
Unbelievable there.
As a coach, that was one of those plays where we say, you know what went wrong there?
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Then you fell down.
Everything. So 3rd and 19 now, and Chandra
nice kick
will
into
boot
the
this
wind.
one away, and that's a beautiful kick. Fielded by the York Lions.
There's another flag down.
Malachi Morrison made that return, but we'll see what this flag is for. That could be coming back. Holding, that's going to be on the return team. So as we've mentioned now a few times, yeah, most penalized play in football on the punt return, and you see it there again. So scratch that return. It'll come back, and we are going to head to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back for the rest of this 4th quarter, the break.
This is what girls do. 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 This is what girls. This is what girls.
shout out to our announcer in the tag park here, Michael McBean, getting the entire stadium to sing along to Sweet Caroline.
Did you know that was my wedding song?
I did not. How would I
My
have
wife
known
is
that,
named
Jeff? Come
Caroline,
on.
and she was named after the song. That was our wedding song.
That's awesome. You know what? Now that you say that, I feel like you might have actually mentioned that before.
I tell you all kinds of stuff. It goes one ear and out the other.
1st and 10 here for Matt Lynn. He's got the completion to Ilunga, and Ilunga gets brought down by Brody Burke and company.
Good stick by Jake Henderson there coming up from his halfback position, but you got to stick and wrap on those plays.
So 2nd and 7 here for the Lions. Ball on their own 11. Lynn back to pass, and this is dangerous. He gets hit. Got rid of that ball before he was brought down the end zone. There's a flag, and that's going to be on the Ravens.
Isaiah
So
Joseph is
unnecessary
coming off
roughness?
signaling that it's
Intentional grounding.
yeah, which might be a safety if he does call that, but I don't know.
Well, I thought that penalty was going to be on the Ravens for unnecessary roughness after the fact, but could be right. It could be intentional grounding on the Lions.
So we're just trying to sort this one out.
Looks like he picked up the flag and is calling no penalty.
So it's going to be 3rd down from the 12. I would imagine that we're going to see Nathan Walker, instead of kicking the ball out of the end zone, take a knee here. If that's a one-play FanDuel prop bet that I can make, I would say he's going to take a safety, which we don't promote that kind of stuff on the broadcast. But just saying, you know.
You've been wrong a few times on those as well, and you're
I'm
wrong here
there.
again.
I just lost my $5.
And Kasim Ferdinand feels it at the 55, and he gets wrapped up at the 45. Flag on the play, and that'll come back.
I might have mentioned this once or twice, but punt returns are the most penalized plays in Canadian football.
I think so. And so after that penalty, the ball will be spotted at the Ravens' 51-yard line. Elijah Barnes and the Ravens offense will look to piece together a drive here. 5 minutes left to play. Keyshawn Reed in the backfield for the Ravens. Barnes back to pass quickly to Yeboah, and he gets tackled for a loss. And Marcellus Pope in there again to make that tackle. He's all over the place.
Great play by Pope in there. And again, the Carleton is trying to get the ball outside the hash marks as quickly as possible, but Pope really read that play well. As much as we've criticized officials this year, referee Chris Ventnor and umpire Andre Papineau and the crew, they've had a great game today.
So Barnes on 2nd and 13, looking downfield. That one tipped up, picked off. Marcellus Pope. Wow. That was a bad pass there from Barnes. He's picked off. It was tipped up in the air. Pope comes down with it. And, yeah, not the drive the Ravens were looking for there.
And it's a 2-score game, you know, as statistically mismatched as these teams have been this game. It's a 2-score game. If York can put a drive together, and score, anything can happen in this game.
And credit to York, they've been able to work their way down the field, but they haven't had a whole lot of chunk plays. So the time really isn't in complete favor of them. They have to get down the field quickly here if they do want to get in 2 scores anytime soon. They got to score and then get the ball back. So you need some bigger plays if you're the York Lions to make that happen. And they got 6 on that completion. So 2nd and 4 now.
Again, they're working the sidelines on short routes very effectively.
Handoff to Rex Walker. Rex Walker gets brought down for a loss.
Carleton in a zone there. Now again, we saw Avery Ford coming across from the right side over to the left side. If they would have faked that handoff and gone play action, Ford was wide open. There was nobody that came with him.
So nice spot for the Lions. 3rd and 4 still. No loss there. They're going to go for it, and a nice completion on the outside there to Avery Ford.
He's a tremendous receiver.
Yeah, he's playing really well here in the second half. He's caught a lot of balls. Lynn back to pass on 1st down. It's Avery Ford again, and now he's going to get some yards after the catch, and he'll get another 1st down. And flag down somewhere on the field over there. See what exactly that is. Yeah, that one's going to be holding against the York Lions. So bring that back.
Big break for the Ravens there.
And yeah, exactly what you don't want if you're the Lions. Undisciplined.
One of the rare penalties in this game that was not on a punt return. So we're at the 3-minute warning now, so it's stop time.
So Lynn fakes the handoff. He's going to send it down the field. And that's Avante McCoy on that catch. He'll be short of the 1st down.
I cannot believe how wide open McCoy was on that route. And again, a smart play, using the sideline, not cutting it back in, getting out of bounds. Now the clock doesn't stop until the snap. They're using the clock effectively.
Again, hard to say without the replay, but I believe that he actually made his way back towards Lynn after he saw that Lynn had rolled out of the pocket and was under pressure. So really good job to make himself open there and give Lynn an option. And this was a handoff that should be a 1st down.
Should be a 1st down.
And they'll give him the 1st down. They'll move the sticks. And the Lions still alive here, but time is ticking. If they do get a score, they'll really need their defense to come up with a stop, which they have been able to do, and that's a dangerous pass, but McCoy brought it in.
Wow.
Avante McCoy, the one-handed snag, brought it against his body and made the catch. Big play there from Avante McCoy. A lot of credit to him on this drive. He's made 2 big plays to keep the Lions alive. And now Matt Lynn.
What an athletic reception that was.
In the gun. He's back to pass, but he's going to let it go to McCoy, and that one just sailed over his head, so incomplete. And it'll be 2nd and 10 after that incompletion.
Tough choice for Lynn to make there, because he had 5 to 10 yards of real estate in front of him where he could have run and then slid, but you know, he's looking outside and he sees McCoy with no one near him.
Matt Lynn in the gun. Lynn drops back to pass. Puts one up, 50-50 ball into the hands of the Ravens, Schneider Cave, and this one's looking like it could go all the way. It doesn't. Schneider Cave gets knocked out of bounds, but that right there is exactly what Carleton needed, and that was just kind of a muffin pass there from Matt Lynn over the head of the receiver into the hands of Schneider Cave, and that could put this game to bed.
There's a situation where you're not going to see on the score sheet because that wasn't a sack, but that was 100% interception caused by the defensive pass rush on that play.
And a few times they've kind of put him under pressure, and he's kind of thrown up those 50-50 balls. Hasn't been penalized for it too much until that there. But a rush there by Joey Marcotte doesn't go anywhere. He gets wrapped up right away, and that'll be a loss of 1. Max Trefescu going to be credited with that tackle for a loss.
He's had a really good game too, Max Trefescu, number 51. One of those guys that's just in on every tackle.
Yeah.
He's always around the ball.
He's a guy like Chris Tumpay, another one of those linebackers that's all over the place. But they've actually been playing him on the edge today. Trefescu, that is. 2nd and 11 now for Barnes. Barnes back to pass. He has Tristan ready over the middle.
Mentioned a few minutes ago, Kasim Ferdinand is now tied for 3rd in all-time receptions for Ravens. He tied John Dolly, who was a receiver in the 80s. John Dolly set the record for most catches in a game for Carleton with 15 in the 1983 Panda game. Speaking of the Panda game next week, the Ravens were down 28-3 in the 4th quarter in that game, and John Dolly led the comeback. Carleton won 33-29.
So 1st and 10 there, and apologies, that was actually Ben Huckabone who made that catch. And pressure on. Barnes gets back to the line of scrimmage, but they were coming for him there.
Very smart play by Barnes to go down inside the sidelines and not go out of bounds.
Yeah, keep the clock.
So now the clock will start when the play is blown in instead of on the snap. So Carleton can burn another 20 seconds here.
Brody Clark there, the bat out of hell, came into the backfield and was all over Barnes, giving him no time. Barnes had to roll out to his left and ended up being brought down. So 2nd and 8 now. Barnes handoff to Marcotte. Marcotte with the hurdle. He's still on his feet. There he goes. What a great runner this guy is. Oh my goodness.
The yards after contact that Marcotte gets is phenomenal.
Look at him. He's just a tank. He's not like the tallest guy in the world, which a lot of backs aren't, but he is built and just a powerhouse.
My Toyota RAV4 isn't that big, but I couldn't tackle it. That's what you're looking at with Marcotte.
1st and 10 now, 30 seconds left in this game. Barnes going to hand this one off to Marcotte, and Marcotte gets a gain of 2 or 3 on that run. Looks like they'll give him 2.
20 seconds left. I would
expect
they're going to take a knee here, unless they want to give Marcotte reps. But looks like they're going to go victory formation.
And that they will. They'll let the clock wind down here, and this will go in the win column for the Ravens. They will move to 2-4 after this win, and the York Lions will fall to 1-4. And now the Ravens heading into next week against the U Ottawa GGs at TD Place for the annual Panda Games. And I've been given word that there's still 2,000 tickets that have been reserved for people that are not students to have their kind of own section away from all the craziness. But 2,000 tickets left, so they're still looking to fully pack out the house. A big capacity there at TD Place, but it's going to be a really fun time. Jeff, are you going to be there? I'm
actually going to be on the color broadcast for TSN 1200 next week. So
that is awesome. Congratulations.
I'll be safe up in the booth away from all the crazy stuff. But if you haven't experienced a Panda game, you've got to. If you're in Ottawa, like get there if you can. And imagine the crowd all time is going to surpass 600,000 for this game, and that's 600,000 people with incredible memories. So if you can make it out to TD Place, get there.
And yeah, if you're unfamiliar with the history in the last few years of that game, Ottawa has won the last 4 Panda games. And Carleton really needs a win, not just for school pride and all that, but this is do or die here in terms of playoff implications. It's a win and you have a really good chance of getting in, or a loss and you are kaput.
Yeah, it's a back against the wall. It's a back against the wall game, and both teams are going to be out desperate for a win. So desperation makes for a great game.
So final score here at Tag Park: 24 Ravens, 10 York Lions. And thank you for joining us for this edition of Carleton Ravens football on OUA TV. And we'll see you next time.
Raven. I am intelligent and creative. I am bold and determined. I rely on teamwork, and I am accountable.